Smart and untraceable thefts are the result of months of effort by expert groups and professional thieves. Thieves with incredible ingenuity have pulled off some of the most astonishing heists in history. It may be true that the disgust of thieves in such robberies goes back to the time when fingerprints and especially DNA analysis of criminals at the scene of the crime was not yet widespread. Join us to check some of these thieves. Hello guys, welcome to the new video on the Black Ocean. Today we're going to talk about the biggest robberies in the world. Thief cases such as the thief from the Isabella Stewart Grander Museum in the 1990s and incredible thieves from the Antwerp World Diamond Center in the early 2000s show that professional thieves have always gone ahead with the latest and most advanced scientific methods of the thieves. Although not all the robberies that we have all discussed here end up with huge sums of money, they all achieve some fame that we can mention them as some of the strangest, biggest and the most famous robbers in the history of the world. The mystery of the theft from the Isabella Stewart Grander Museum is one of the biggest thefts in the world. Isabella Stewart Grander, who was an art collector in 1901 with utmost sincerity and good heart, decided to repawn her magnificent home in Boston, which was full of valuable works of art, at the public. Grander's collection of works of art was the result of her travels to the far corners of the world, including some of the masterpieces of painting by such greats as Rembrandt and Johannes Vermeer. For this reason, when the news of the theft from this private museum reached people's ears, many people felt sorry for this incident. It was the night on March 18, 1990, when two thieves disguised as police officers entered the museum and stole some of the world's best paintings with a value of over $500 million. The theft from the Isabella Stewart Grander Museum remains the largest theft of private property in American history. For the arrest of thieves, the highest reward has been set by private owners. On the night of the robbery, two museum guards, Rick Abbott and Randy, had no idea that they were going to spend one night on the amazing nights of their leave on shift at night. It was 1:20 in the morning when they had to allow two police officers to enter the museum. The two claimed that they were informed that noise was heard in the museum, but it was within the next 11 minutes that these two fake officers disarmed both guards, handcuffed and blindfolded them. They imprisoned two guards in the basement of the museum and gave them a stern warning to be quiet. It is even said that the robbers promised that the two guards a reward in exchange for their silence later. The theft of $6 million from Lufthansa is one of the biggest thefts in history. It today heavily monitored world, especially in public places like airports. It's hard to imagine that a city like New York was once a hotbed of professional thieves. It was in this city the millions of dollars were stolen from Lufthansa cargo in 1978. A robbery that is probably the most lucrative criminal deal associated with the name of the American Mafia. Louis Werner, an employee of the German Lufthansa airline company who was struggling with a serious gambling problem and the resulting debts, planned the robbery. For some time, Werner and his colleague Peter Grunwald had planned to steal millions of unmarked bills from one of the Lufthansa's cash shipments, but Werner told his bookie Martin Kriegman about this theft, a robbery that could clear Werner's $2,000 debt to the bookie. Kriegman later told the story of his friend Henry Hill. Hill also worked closely with Kriegman's friend Jimmy Burke. Jimmy Burke was a friend member of the Lucy crime family and a professional thief. Burke offered to organize the robbery in exchange for a substantial share. The 100 million heist from Antwerp's Diamond Trading Center is one of the most incredible incredible heists in history. One of the most modern robberies in the list of the biggest robberies in history is the robbery of the Antwerp Diamond Trade Center, Belgium in 2003. A robbery that is incredibly similar to the colorful and shiny Hollywood robbery movies. The mastermind of this robbery was Leonardo Notarboto. His intention was to steal from the world's largest diamond trading area, where the vast majority of the world's rough diamonds were traded. Before Leonardo made his legendary robbery, it was thought that the security of this diamond center was extremely high and it was almost impossible to steal it. Leonardo started his plan for the historic robbery in 2000. At that time, he rented one of the largest office buildings in the diamond center. He used his job as a jeweler to track down Kenny. Over time, he memorized all the security details of the building and gathered around him a team of thieves who were the best in their profession. Among these super professional thieves, Vero Elio Duenario, electrician and burglar alarm expert, Fernandinho Finotto, machine and locksmith, and Pietro Tuano, Bernardo's childhood friend. The last person in the group was someone whose name was never revealed. He was an expert locksmith, sometimes referred to as the king of keys. The history of the color bomb robbery that killed the pizza delivery man. When Brian Wells started his shift as a pizza delivery driver on August 28, 2003, he had no idea that he was going to become the only victim of one of the biggest robberies in history. The pizza Wells had to deliver that day was to an address in Sabaneri, Pennsylvania. But when Wells arrived at the desired address, he realized that instead of a regular house, he had to deliver the pizza to a TV station. This also surprised him. It is unclear what exactly happened inside the building, but Wells left the house with a mental collar tied around his neck. This collar had 4 locks and 2 pipe bombs were placed in it. This sinister plan was under the head of the majority Dale Armstrong, a woman with a history of murder and mental problems, someone who is said to have killed several people, including his ex-wife, several of his friends and sons. Anyway, in addition to the mental collar and the bombs, poor Wells was given a strange homemade shotgun that locked a cane and detailed instruction strange that Wells was began held hostage. Wells' only freedom was to follow all the instructions and do the work asked by the thieves. The truth of the color bomb thief was never clarified. The police investigation continued long after the robbery, but there was no result. Some of those arrested in connection with the effect claimed that Wells was in the plot from the beginning, but he thought it was a fake bomb. But Dale Armstrong and the rest of the group have a change of heart just before the plan goes into effect, forcing Wells to wear a real bomb. Considering that almost all Armstrong's accomplices have since died or been killed, the truth may never be revealed. The theft of the Mona Lisa painting is one of the biggest thefts in the history of the world. Leonardo da Vinci is one of the most famous artistic geniuses in history, but if it was not for a historical theft, maybe his famous painting Mona Lisa would never have reached the fame we knew about it now. The famous painting was stolen in 1911 by an Italian named Vincenzo Perugia from the former employees of the Louvre Museum in Paris. Having just celebrated his 30th birthday, Perugia entered the famous Louvre Museum on the morning of August 21. Since he had previously worked as a repairman in the museum, he did not suspect anyone. Perugia waited until the gallery where the famous Da Vinci painting was installed was empty. Then he easily reached out and took the painting off the wall and carried it to a nearby staircase. There, Vincenzo Perugia wrapped his clock around the 57 by 77 cm painting, hugged it, and easily left the amusement door. 2 years later, Perugia brought the famous Da Vinci painting to Italy and decided to sell it to Alfredo Gehry, a collector in Florence. But Perugia's plans were ruined very soon. After learning about the incident, the police arrested Perugia. Thank you guys for your watching. I hope you enjoy from this video and I hope you share it with your friend and write a comment to us. Don't forget subscribe the channel and like the video, and this is a very supporting that you can of us. Thank you guys again for watching. We will see you soon on tomorrow. Goodbye.